I just came back from New York City, and with that being said, I also came back from AEW Grandslam Dynamite and Grandslam Rampage, and I'm going to be talking to you guys about my experience seeing both shows live and in person at Arthur Ashe Stadium. We're also going to be talking a little bit about New Japan Pro Wrestling and Tetsy Naito being out of the G1 Climax, and how that's affected the G1 Climax going forward, but also how the G1 ain't too bad so far. And then finally, we're going to end things out here with my predictions for Stardom's 5-star Grand Prix finale, which is taking place this morning. By the time you watch this, I could have already talked about the show, but we're going to do predictions for it anyway. Guys, this is the 66th edition of the Chill Spill Podcast. The S is silent, by the way. Yo, what is going on, guys? It is your boy Suplex, that's SOOPLEX on TikTok and SOOPLEXX on Twitch.tv, aka Tyler Coon Williams, aka the one who lived. And guys, welcome back to the 66th edition of the Chill Spill Podcast, and that is pill spelled with an S, but it's silent. Unlike the crowd at Arthur Ashe Stadium was for AEW Grandslam, and I would know because I was there. I was a part of history. I was actually inside the tennis arena that is Arthur Ashe Stadium for AEW's biggest show yet, AEW Grandslam Dynamite and Rampage. And I figured I'll be making this a special edition of the Chill Spill Podcast to do a bit of a live experience of my time at both shows and partially in New York. Going to be talking a little bit about everything here as this is being recorded. It is currently Thursday night. I wanted to put this up Friday afternoon. The only way I really could do that and get the vlog out and do other stuff was to record this on Thursday night. So I'll be honest with you, I have not had a chance to actually watch back Grandslam yet. I don't know what the perception looks like on television. I only know the perception in the arena, but that might be what you guys are looking for. So let's talk about it. AEW Dynamite Grandslam happened yesterday. It was an amazing show. I did arrive in New York City. You guys probably already know I'm from Delaware. I'm from Pennsylvania, but I currently reside in Delaware. I took the train up to New York on Monday. Got there, I want to say I got there Monday afternoon, went to some places, ate some food, yada, yada, yada. Tuesday, I went to a lot of different places, saw some things, took some photos, all that cool stuff. Wednesday was the day I've been waiting for. Wednesday was the day when I was going to take my ass to Queens and go to this show. Now, mind you, I had a bit of trouble actually getting to this arena because your boy's not a New York native, and I hopped on the wrong train like 2 different times. I was getting kind of angry. By the time I got there, I want to say I got to the arena at I got there like 5:30. Yeah, was it 5:30? Yeah, I got there like 5:30. And it was already long. So basically, there's a line going from the train station where it starts all the way into Arthur Ashe Stadium. And this already was at 5 o'clock at the evening, 5 o'clock at the late afternoon, and the show doors don't open until 6, and there's already a fucking line stretching. I want to say, I can't count the steps, there's too many. It had to have been all of maybe 4 blocks if I could do the correct estimation from the station to the stadium. I would say walking distance, that's about not even 4 to 5, that's maybe about 7-8 blocks. You could basically say it was a mile. It was basically a mile-long line between the station and the stadium. And it only got longer as time went on and time increased. And the line moved pretty damn slowly. But by the time I got to the arena, I want to say it was about 6:45, 6:30. Got to the arena, sat down, found my seat. I had a really good seat. I got 103 section 103. Row A, I believe seat 7. I was basically you guys probably didn't see me on camera because I was basically dead center. And as you guys know, if you've ever attended a wrestling event, or really any event for that matter, there's a hard camera side. The hard camera side is usually on the right-hand side of the arena. So if you're not on the right-hand side, you're likely not going to get on TV. You have a chance if you're on the left-hand side of the arena, but that's only by chance. If you're in the center, you're likely not going to get on TV, but you do have a really good view of everything. And that was me. I had a really good view because I was at the very, very bottom of my section. Like, it was a perfect seat, man. Perfect seats. But yeah, 7 p.m. started. We got I believe Dark Elevation didn't start till like 7:15. But we got to see some Dark Elevation matches. Not going to say who won those, but Dark Elevation was good. That was actually my second time watching Dark Elevation. Believe it or not, I've only seen Dark Elevation technically 3 times. The first ever Dark Elevation, I want to say I saw maybe some of it. I didn't actually finish the whole episode of Dark Elevation. Then when I was actually in New York on Monday, that's when I went to this restaurant called Dallas Barbecue. Really good food. If you're ever in Times Square, make sure you hit up Dallas Barbecue. Really, really good food there. I went to Dallas Barbecue. I got like a daiquiri, and I want to say I got like a burger or something. Like it was a good burger. But I was like, it's Monday, Dark Elevation, so let's watch Dark Elevation. So I sat down, I watched the show live. I must say, I really enjoyed the commentary team. Tony Schiavone, Paul White, Ricky Starks, I like this commentary team so much more than I like Dynamite's commentary team. And that's not to say that Dynamite's commentary team is bad or anything, but I guess maybe it's because I'm used to it, and I'm not really fond of Jim Ross on commentary. In his prime, Jim Ross is the greatest of all time. Current Jim Ross, not so much. I could do without Jim Ross on commentary for like the rest of AEW's inception, honestly. But I like this commentary a lot. They were having a lot of fun, a lot of laughs, especially Eddie. No, it wasn't Ricky Starks. It was Eddie Kingston. It was really fun. I enjoyed it. Watching Dark Elevation live and in person, that was really cool. Then 8 p.m. came, and it was time for AEW Dynamite Grandslam. The arena was packed. I mean, there were some empty seats. It wasn't a completely sold out. I want to say maybe about 95% of the seats filled up, but like 95% is still 19,000 or whatever. So yeah, I do think the number they said, like 20,000, could be possibly dramatized, but not by many people. Like, not by that many people. If anything, they dramatized it by like maybe a couple hundred, and that's it. Or maybe 100, and that's it, honestly. But yeah, let's talk about Grandslam. So, the first now this shocked everybody in the arena, which is why the pop for the first entrance was so fucking loud, because we didn't actually know what match is going to start. Just a note for anybody who's never been to an AEW Dynamite taping, they don't show you, I mean, maybe on some episodes they do, but when we were there, they didn't show us the match card layout. Like on Dynamite on TV, when you're watching on TV, in the corner, they're showing the crowd, and then they're showing like the matches coming up or whatnot. We didn't see any of that, so we didn't know what match is starting off the show. Everyone's assuming like, oh, it's going to be, people were talking about, oh, it's going to be Brian Pillman Jr. and MJF, it's going to be Cody Malachi. Nobody thought it was going to be Bryan Danielson versus Kenny Omega, but what do you know? Bryan Danielson theme song hits, and the crowd went bro. It was deafening. I couldn't hear a fucking thing for like a solid 10 seconds when Bryan Danielson came out. It was electric, man. It was crazy energy for this first match. Bryan Danielson comes out. He's in good looking shape, great shape, I would even say. And then Kenny Omega comes out. Crowd's still very hot. The bell rings, and the place is just going insane. I'm cheering. Everybody in the arena is cheering. We're cheering for like a solid straight minute, bro. Like, I can't hear anybody next to me because it's so damn loud in there. And Bryan Danielson and Kenny Omega had a terrific match. It is simply one of the best matches I have ever seen live in attendance. And I've seen Kazuchika Okada versus Tetsuya Naito Wrestle Kingdom 14 Night 2. And that is still, in my opinion, might be the greatest match. I don't know. Maybe I have to watch the match back. I'll give Naito versus Okada the leg up on this match because that match had a decisive finish. But I would say if Naito and Okada is number 1, then Kenny Omega versus Bryan Danielson is number 2. This match was amazing. It was great to see these styles mesh together because Bryan Danielson and Kenny Omega, they're two of the best wrestlers in the entire world, but they come from two different worlds in a sense. Where Bryan Danielson is this very much a akin style to the old Ring of Honor days, New Japan. Dan Bryan's style is so hard to describe. It's Daniel Bryan's style. Like, he influenced so many wrestlers. It's hard to describe him. It's very technically sound, hard strikes. It's Bryan Danielson. Then Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega's style, it's hard to explain. It's Kenny Omega's style. He's influenced so many different people. But Kenny Omega has more of a Japanese style, especially when he's on one. He has a Japanese style. Bryan Danielson, like, not so much, at least not of the time he's been in WWE. I haven't seen it. But when he's been in Japan, when he's been in Ring of Honor, he can have those fucking kick-ass matches. And in here, you're like, it's going to be great, but I want to know how it's going to be paced. And they paced it basically like a New Japan match. I mean, it was a slow to start, but it was technically sound the whole way through. You were on the edge of your seat the entire time. Nobody ever got disinterested in this match at any point. Once you got to like the 20-minute mark, because the first 15 minutes were Bryan Danielson targeting Kenny Omega's arm, and it was such great selling on Kenny's part. They're both fucking amazing sellers, so it was just so great. Once you got to the halfway point, Kenny Omega basically took charge for the rest of the match. Like, Kenny Omega basically kicked Bryan Danielson's ass for the rest of the match after the 15-minute mark. It was actually, I don't want to say ridiculous, but it was crazy to see Bryan Danielson selling so damn much. One of the best spots of the match, one of the craziest spots of the match, to say, was when Kenny Omega had Bryan Danielson inside the ring, and he gets him up for a powerbomb, and I'm like, okay, well, he's going to powerbomb him. Then he turns to the corner, and I'm like, oh, he's going to buckle bomb him like Seth Rollins. This motherfucker, Kenny Omega, man. This dude power bombs Bryan Danielson on the top, like, not even on the top. He power bombed Daniel Bryan, but it looked like he missed the turnbuckle, and Bryan Danielson just went over the top rope, folded it, bro. It was ridiculous, and the crowd just like all shrieked because you didn't know, like, oh, was that planned? Da da da. And Daniel Bryan sort of like he died, and it was so awesome. But then, like, right after the fact, Kenny Omega gets right outside the ring. Then Bryan Danielson's trying to recuperate. He's trying to get himself together. Kenny Omega gets outside of the ring. I'm speaking too fast. Kenny Omega gets outside of the ring. He walks up the ramp. And I'm like, this dude's about to do a running lariat. But then I'm like, wait a minute. Bryan Danielson is still on the mat. He's about to do a charging V-trigger. This is going to be crazy. From all the way at the top of the ramp, Kenny Omega runs and runs and runs, and he V-triggers the life out of Bryan Danielson. That had to be one of the best V-triggers I've ever seen. And I haven't seen it televised yet, but I can tell you in the arena, that shit look fucking crazy. And he gets Bryan Danielson in the ring, and the rest of the match is him teasing, doing these moves or hitting these moves, and Bryan Danielson kicking out. So many near falls, so many perfectly timed ones too. And when they get Bryan Danielson up for the one-winged angel, Bryan Danielson reverses it with a reverse run, and the crowd, we just got on our feet because we were like, this is the momentum shift that Bryan needed. Bryan Danielson, I gotta keep saying that. Bryan Danielson needed, like, this is gonna happen, da da da. He locks in the label lock, and Omega makes throws. We're like, fuck, and then they're still going, they're headbutting each other, and then the time limit runs out. Now, mind you, we all knew there was a 30-minute time limit on this match. But if Justin Roberts at any point was saying 10 minutes remain, 5 minutes remain, 2 minutes remain, we were so loud, nobody heard him. Nobody heard him. Now, from my view, in the center, if I look to the left, where the hard camera was like positioned, I could clearly see the time. Like, it was a clock there. Obviously, I would say it was for the wrestlers in the ring to look at and know how much time they have left. But I could look at the clock and know, okay, we have this much amount of time left. But, you know, I was so invested, I wasn't looking at the fucking clock. So by the time they were beating each other up, the bell rings, and the crowd just boos. And I was booing too. I'm like, man, this is corny. Like, they're having a great match, and it ends in the time limit draw. Now, listen, the crowd was booing because the match ended, and they wanted to see more of it. They weren't booing the match. They weren't booing it because it sucked. They were booing because it ended. They wanted to see more of it. It was, I mean, I guess there's no good kind of boo. Well, I mean, yeah, I guess it's the good kind of boo. Like, they were booing the finish, but not because the finish sucked. They were booing the finish because they did not want it to end. But either way, it was a 10 out of 10 match. It was fucking amazing. Everything you want out of a Bryan Danielson and Kenny Omega match was in here. They left some still on the table. There's going to be another match. I don't know if it's at Full Gear. I don't know if it's at another Dynamite. I don't know when it's going to be, but there's going to be another match. Kenny Omega on Twitter said there's not going to be another match, but Tony Khan can override that, obviously. But this match in the arena was as amazing as it was seen on TV. Even better. Even better. CM Punk had an interview. I really can't tell you what he said. I don't really remember what he said. I mean, it was cool to see his entrance live, but his promo really was of no significance because he was having a match on Rampage. They just wanted to get him on the show. They wanted CM Punk to be on Dynamite. That was the only purpose for this interview. There was really no other reason for CM Punk to be out here. And it wasn't even an interview because Tony Schiavone was not out there. It was just CM Punk, so it was just the promo. I mean, it was cool. It was cool, but I don't remember it. So, after CM Punk leaves, now mind you, I'm already waiting. I'm waiting because I have to use the bathroom, and I want to get some food. So once CM Punk's theme song hits and he's walking back, I'm like, all right, let's go. Like, time to go, y'all. I get up. I take my ass up them steps. I walk into the concession. This line is half a mile stretched across the goddamn arena. I'm pissed. Because I'm like, there's no way I'm going to step in this line and make it back in time. So, I did the hustle game. I went to basically the closest person to the concession, and I said, hey, buddy, I got $15 for you if you pretend like you know me. Now, the first 3 people I asked said no. And then I asked the 4th person, they're like, yeah. So I Venmo this guy $50, right? So I step in place with him. Brian Pillman Jr. versus MJF starts. The whole match happens. And mind you, I'm still in line. I missed the match. Can't tell you a single thing that happened. I missed the whole thing. But then Chris Jericho and Jake Hager's promo pops up. And we're moving along a little bit, but I got the Arthur Ashe fucking Stadium. How do you guys have like 5, 6, 7 people in the concession, in the back, making food, putting out water? There's 6 people back there. Why is there only 1 fucking person on register? How is there only 1 person on the register when you see the line forming? People were so fucking angry. Like, this line was not moving at all. I feel like I did not budge at all during this point. So now, at this point, we're just waiting. Malachi Black's entrance hits, and I'm like, oh shit, I'm about to miss this. So I tell the guy, I'm like, yo, keep my place, da-da-da. I walk away, I go watch the entrance, Cody Rhodes, da-da-da, boom, 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 whoop, whoop. So I get back in line, right? The guy's gone. The guy is gone. He stepped away, and I'm like, bruh, what, where'd you go? You know what? I lied. He didn't step away. So that was actually during Dark Elevation. So I gotta take you back now because I messed up the story. This happened twice. So during Dark Elevation, I went to go get some food, and I asked the guy, can I take his place? And he said, yeah. I gave him $15, and I stepped in place with him, but the line wasn't moving. So the time's ticking. I got up at like 7:30 during Dark Elevation for this. Time's ticking. 7:45. 7:50. We're still in line. We're close, but we're still in line. And we're looking at like, bro, we're not going to make it. I'm not going to make it. 7:55. I'm still in line. I'm like, bro, I don't want to miss the intro to the show. I don't want to miss the first match. Like, I don't want to miss it. I don't want to miss it. 7:58. I'm like, fuck, I got to leave. So I get back. I basically go back to my seat. I come back. Well, I don't come back because obviously the first match is Bryan Danielson versus Kenny Omega. So I was out of $15 fucking dollars. I was out of $15, so I gave this guy my money. And I walked away. And obviously he probably walked away too. And when I came back, during the Brian Pillman Jr. MJF match. He obviously wasn't there, and I couldn't find him. So then I did it again. I asked the guy, I said, "Hey, yo, instead of saying, I'll give you $15, I said, I'll pay for your meal if you say you know me." And he was like, "Cool." So I paid for his meal, and I got back to my seat by the middle of Malachi Black versus Cody Rhodes. So by that time, I already spent like $30 on people, which is ridiculous. The $15 I wasted, basically, being a dumbass. I should have thought that through better, but I wasted $30. It's whatever. It was priorities. I wanted to not miss this show, so the money had to be there. But here's my excuse for spending that much money. Here's my excuse. I had a photo shoot planned on Tuesday, and the guy canceled on me. So I basically got that $100 for the photo shoot refunded back to me. So I used that $100 basically to bribe people. That's my excuse, and I'm rolling with it. I mean, it's an authentic excuse. It really happened, but still I'm rolling with it. Anyway, I saw a middle of Malachi Black versus Cody Rhodes. I was there for the entrances because I stepped out of line. The guy held my place, thankfully. Cool guy. If I could remember his name, I would tell you, but he was a really cool guy. Anyway, the Malachi Black Cody Rhodes match, from what I saw, that was fine. It was, like I said, I didn't see the whole thing, but it was fine for what I saw. Malachi Black won the match, and that's all that fucking matters. Malachi Black did the Muta Mist into the face of Cody Rhodes and rolled him up and got the pin. I don't like that he rolled him up and got the pin. It was more decisive, but hey, a win is a win is a win is a win is a win. He got the pin over Cody Rhodes, and that's all that matters to me, is that Cody Rhodes did not win. Now, Cody Rhodes, to the credit of New York City, they booed him. They booed Cody Rhodes. I'm not gonna lie, I had my doubts. I had my doubts about New York City, but they came through. When Cody came out, I would say it was half and half. I was shocked it was half cheers, half boos. By the time the match started and they were throwing blows, Cody was getting booed, and I was loving every second of it. And when Malachi Black rolled him up, the crowd popped big. The crowd popped big because I'm pretty sure they were not expecting Malachi Black to win this match. But he did. Where does Malachi Black go from here? Here's the thing. Now you're probably saying, oh, yo. Okay, breaking news. This is happening real time. The guy who I Venmoed $15 just Venmo me the $15 back. Bro, I manifested that. This literally, I swear on everything, this literally just happened. I will have to screenshot it and well, I'm not going to do that because it shows his name. I'll screenshot it and then like white it out or whatever. But this guy, as I was speaking, legit Venmoed me the $15 back. Fucking kudos to that guy. Because he really did not have to do that. But wow, wow. I manifested him paying me back, so that's awesome. But back to what I was talking about. Where does Malachi Black go from here? There's one way to go, and that's to move the fuck on. I do not want to see Cody Rhodes and Malachi Black have a third match. Nope. MJF and Cody Rhodes had one match. Chris Jericho and Cody Rhodes had one match. Malachi Black, Cody Rhodes does not need to be at. No. We did this with Darby and Cody. He already got his win. Cody does not need to get the win back. Cody didn't get his win back against MJF. He did not get his win back against Chris Jericho. He does not need to get the win back against Malachi Black. Malachi Black will be stronger if he does not lose to Cody Rhodes. And people are probably asking, oh, what do you do with Cody Rhodes? You turn him heel? Here's what I would do. Because the crowd booed Cody. And I'm pretty sure they're going to be in New York City next week, too. I mean, not in New York City, but they're going to be upstate Rochester, New York. If it's the same crowd, they're going to boo Cody again if Cody's on TV. Cody might be smart and take himself off TV. But if Cody's on TV next week, they're going to boo Cody still. So here was what I would do. I would have Cody Rhodes come out. No match. He would come out, cut a promo, and he would basically turn his back. He would be like, what the fuck, guys? I mean, I'm paraphrasing, but he basically would be like, what the fuck, guys? Like, I do everything I do is for you guys. Everything I do, this company, this is what I built. This empire is for you guys. I fight for you guys. I fight for my brothers and sisters in the African American community. Obviously, not gonna say that part, but I do everything for you guys, and you turn your back on me? You boo me? I go up against my biggest challenge, Malachi Black, and you boo me? You turn your back on me? Fuck you. I think Cody Rhodes should just turn, and it doesn't have to be Cody Rhodes beats up his wife or turns his back on Arn Anderson. It doesn't have to be like that. It could be a simple in-ring promo where Cody Rhodes basically tells the crowd to fuck off. That's all it needs to be. That's as simple as it should be. Any other thing I think is overcomplicating it. I think Cody Rhodes should just tell the crowd to fuck off. Obviously paraphrasing. But tell the crowd, F you for not having my back. And then go from there. Because Cody Rhodes and Brandi Rhodes have shown not only in this match, but in previous other matches in AEW, in New Japan, in Ring of Honor, that they can be a great heel couple. Cody Rhodes and Brandi Rhodes are a great heel couple. And I think the only thing that might prevent them from turning heel is the reality show Rhodes to the Top, which is based off of Cody Rhodes and Brandi Rhodes' basically Rhodes, through AEW and the creation and the inception, all that stuff. They gotta look all pretty and like the homecoming heroes, and they gotta do press. So I can understand why they may not want to turn heel. And that's probably going to be a reason why they may not turn heel at all. But I think they should just separate the TV show Rhodes to the Top from All Elite Wrestling. They don't have to be one and the same. Yes, we're going to see AEW on Rhodes to the Top, but they don't have to be synonymous with each other. Cody Rhodes could be a bad guy on AEW and be a good guy on Rhodes to the Top. They don't need to be this parallel universe. It doesn't have to be that way. So I'm hoping Cody Rhodes does turn heel. So that way I have a reason to boo him. I'm still going to boo Cody Rhodes when he's a heel. But at least then I'll have I do have a concrete reason to boo him. But let me scratch that. I have a reason to boo Cody Rhodes. And you guys know this. I'm not going to go over it again for like the 18th time. You know why I boo Cody Rhodes. At least if he turns heel, I will look appropriate booing Cody Rhodes. Let me phrase it that way. I'll look appropriate booing Cody Rhodes. I feel like this is all over the place, this podcast. I've had like 2-3 drinks. So if I'm all over the place, excuse me. I'm a little tipsy. But we're still going. We're still rocking and rolling. Sting and Darby Allin went up against FTR. This was a damn good match, bro. Sting is 63 years old, and this dude was out here moving and bumping. He has done more bumps in this match than I've seen him do in any matches he's had in AEW or WWE in the last 10 years. Since he came back to wrestling in 2015, this is the most bumps I've seen him take. And he looked good. He still looked good. And this dude, I ain't going to sit here and say he looked like he was like Sting of 1990s. I ain't going to go that far. But for 63 years old, this guy should not be going at this pace that he was. But he held up in there with FTR. FTR are just so fucking great at making their opponents look good. And they're so great at making themselves look good too. Darby Allin, he's just this daredevil. He's so agile and so willing to risk his body to do anything. And yeah, one of the dopest finishes in this show was when I believe FTR was trying to save each other. I think Sting had the Scorpion Deathlock on one of the members of FTR, and I think the other member went to pull him outside the ring, and Darby Allin went to the top rope and coffin dropped onto the guy pulling him out, and it looked so fucking fluid and so cool. And then I believe the other guy tapped out. It was a cool ass match. I loved it. And then it led us to the main event of the show, Britt Baker versus Ruby Soho for the AEW Women's World Championship. Let me just say this, AEW gets all the kudos in the world for having the women go on last. Nobody expected this, but they did. They put Britt Baker and Ruby Soho in a 19,000 seat arena in the main event. Now here's the thing. This match was good of what I saw, because I did not see MJF and BPJ. I did not see all of Malachi Black and Cody Rhodes. But from what I saw, this was the weakest match on the show. It was still good, but it was the weakest match on the show. Now, here's the thing. The crowd by this time was kind of dead. The crowd was still vocal. They were still kind of loud, but they were dead. They were deadish. And the reason why they were deadish is because they had the best match on first. The best match, the match of the year, what people are saying is match of the year, went on first. And I want to address this now because it's a good thing that is turning into a future negative for AEW. And that is match card positioning. AEW, I've said this in the past, and I'll say it again here to just bring it up and clarify for anybody who's not heard my opinion on this. AEW, something they do very greatly is that they have strong starts to their shows. They always make an effort to put a really good match in the opener. Look back at any pay-per-view they've had, and it always starts off hot. It always starts off hot. Unless it is AEW Revolution 2020 and they want to start off with Jake Hager and Dusty Rhodes, but we don't count it. Pac versus Kenny Omega was the start of Dynamite in 2020. And that's just one example. There's so many different examples I can name, but I can't think of them. Here's the thing, though. When you have your best match at the very beginning of the show, you basically, nothing else follows that. And the crowd is at its height at the very beginning, so it's almost like you're going on this downward slope for the rest of the show. Because while the crowd was hype in the arena, they were never that loud again. They were never as loud as they were for the first 30 minutes of the show. And that was the issue. By the time you got to the main event, it wasn't even, I would say, maybe a quarter of how hyped they were for the opening match. They were hyped for this match. I felt like it was, they did these women they did them a favor by putting them in the main event, but they did them no favors by having Kenny Omega and Bryan Danielson go on first and them going last. So I would heed this caution to AEW. If you want to have hot openers, have hot openers. I don't mind that. I think it's a great idea. Don't have the best match on in the opening match. It's just not a good idea. I go back to AEW Revolution 2020 when they put on one of the greatest tag team matches of all time, the Young Bucks versus Kenny Omega and Hangman Page. That was the third match on the show. And I remember the rest of the show, they were amped. But there was obviously a noticeable difference in how amped they were for the third match versus how amped they were for the main event. Because nobody else could follow that. So AEW needs to watch that. It's not a negative thing. It's not a bad thing, but it's something I noticed that they want to keep their eye on. Because it could definitely hurt the main event and the people who have to follow every match after the opening match when you do something like that. Britt Baker Ruby Soho was good. Britt Baker did win the match to retain the AEW Women's World Championship. And listen, this show was fucking great. It was one of the best shows I've seen live. I have not watched it back on TV yet, so I don't know what the perception of the show. I mean, I know it was a great show all around from what I heard from people who watched it on TV. My friend George, co-host of our AEW Rampage live streams, will be live this Friday. We will be live tonight for it. He loved the show. He thought it was awesome. But I haven't watched it back yet, so I'll let you guys know then. Let's talk about Grandslam. Now, I know if you listen to this live, Grandslam did not happen yet, so I will not be saying who won, but I'll be giving my thoughts on the show. So the opening match of the show was CM Punk versus Powerhouse Hobbs. Once again, opening up hot. But by this time, we've already been 3 hours of wrestling, so they kind of really didn't have much of a choice. This was good. This was definitely... how do I feel about this? This was better than I expected. Way better than I expected. Powerhouse Hobbs and CM Punk had really good chemistry. Which is shocking because Powerhouse Hobbs is not that experienced. He's not been in the business for that long. And CM Punk still has some ring rust. Like in this match, there were like a couple spots where you're like, ooh, CM Punk, he botched here. You know what I mean? He looks like he's still a little rusty, but he's still going out there and doing his shit. This was better than I expected. Would I say I liked it better than Darby match? I feel like I liked it personally. Personally, I liked it more than the Darby match. However, objectively, I probably think it was not better than the Darby match, but I personally liked it more than the Darby match. I'm not going to say who won, though, but it was really good. I got to talk about the match that followed. Adam Cole and the Young Bucks versus Jurassic Express and Christian Cage. I thought this would have been the main event of the show, but it wasn't. It followed CM Punk on Powerhouse Hobbs. This match was insane. This was easily the second best match from the Grand Slam series. Both Dynamite and Rampage, this is the second best match. If you want to say it was better, actually you can't. It just wasn't. But this is definitely the second best match of both shows. It was fucking crazy. It was all action the whole time. It really showed the talent of every single person in this match. The Young Bucks and Adam Cole are a fucking great trio. And when those trios championships come in, best believe they're winning it. Will they win the tournament that's going to be had for it? Probably they will. But best believe when they win those titles, they're going to be having this great ensemble of matches. And I can't wait for it. Jurassic Express was also great. And I can't wait for their match that they have with each other. Oh my god, I'm going off topic. Guys, I don't know why I drank before I came on this stream, before I came on this podcast, but you're just going to have to deal with drunk Tyler tonight. Bear with me here. This is a really fun match. You're going to enjoy the hell out of it. Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky versus Chris Jericho and Jake Hager. I took a bathroom break during this match. When I came back, I saw a bunch of UFC fighters in the ring. I'm not going to spoil who came out. One of them got a humongous pop, so you can have your assumptions on who that might be. But they actually were punching and laying out Chris Jericho and Jake Hager. I'll leave it at that. The main event of the show was, I can't really say. The main event of the show for me was the Lucha Bros, Santana and Ortiz versus Private Party, The Butcher and the Blade. A really good follow-up match. It was not as great as the six-man tag earlier, but it was a really good match. And I say it was the main event for me because I dipped during the Suzuki and Archer versus Eddie Kingston and John Moxley match because I wanted to beat traffic. There was 19,000 people in the arena. And in order to get out of that arena alive and not be getting back to my hotel like 5 a.m., I felt like it was in my best interest to get out of that arena as fast as I can. So I left as soon as the entrances were over. And a lot of people had the same idea as me. There were a good amount of people who were already there. But, bro, we missed the train, and it flooded with people by the time the show was over. Flooded with people. But it was a great show. Oh, shit, I forgot about Penelope Ford and Anna Jay. That match happened. But, yeah, Grand Slam was a great show as well. Definitely the best Grand Slam they've had. You're going to love it. You're going to enjoy it. One announcement that happened on that show was AEW is going to be having a Rampage. A AEW Rampage show on November the 12th. It's going to be the show right before Full Gear. And this will be happening in Minneapolis, Minnesota, from the Target Center. This arena has a capacity of 19,000 people. They're looking to go for their second biggest drawing ever. 19,000 people in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Here's the thing. I don't know if they could sell out this arena. It is Minneapolis, Minnesota. That is not a Philadelphia. That's not a New York. That's not a California. That's not a Florida. Like, that's not a wrestling city. Can you correct me if I'm wrong? The only person I know from Minneapolis, Minnesota is Brock Lesnar. And Brock Lesnar's not coming to AEW within the next month. So I don't know how they're going to sell out this show. Now, I've doubted AEW in the past. I did not doubt they were going to sell out this show. However, I have my doubts about this one. CM Punk is already here. Bryan Danielson is already here. There's no big debut they could have in here bigger than Bryan Danielson and CM Punk. So, I don't know. But I do know one thing. I do know one ace Tony Khan could potentially have up his sleeve for a show. You're hearing the scoop from me here. So, there's this guy, right? This guy named Bray Wyatt, Wyndham Rotunda. He got released by WWE on July 31st. 3-month no compete, which means that his contract, he will be able to go anywhere and wrestle for anybody on November 1st, 2021. 11 days before this show. So listen. If they want to sell out this show, I think building up a possible Bray Wyatt Wyndham Rotunda appearance is the way to do it. I think we're going to see the debut of Wyndham Rotunda on this show. Mark my words. Mark this podcast. But yeah, guys, that was my thoughts on AEW Grandslam. It was one of my favorite experiences I've ever been to a live wrestling show. Man, I'm still riding a high. It's only been one day, but I'm still riding a high. It was such a great show. Such a great show. AEW also had some big news that they announced last week, and that is the partnership with the Owen Hart Foundation. AEW and the Owen Hart Foundation are going to be teaming up, which means that Owen Hart is being basically revived back into professional wrestling, because for years, a decade even, 2 decades, Owen Hart has really not been talked about much in pro wrestling in terms of, the mainstream media, because he was associated with WWE and they had a lawsuit with Martha Hart, and, they couldn't license him, they couldn't talk about him. Wrestling fans talked about Owen Hart, but no other company really could, or Martha Hart wouldn't give them the permission to. Then Dark Side of the Ring, they did a whole thing on him last year, and that was really the first time we really got to explore Owen Hart in so many years. And here we are 1 year later, and this drops. And coming from the news, we have that there's going to be Owen Hart merch distributed by AEW. There's going to be a tournament in AEW called the Owen Cup, and Owen Hart's name and likeness is going to be included in the upcoming AEW video game. Owen Hart is basically being revived back into professional wrestling through AEW, and I got this news on the bus on my way to work, and bro, I was so overjoyed, because it's so cool to see Owen Hart finally being able to get some recognition in the current day and age through mainstream media. I gotta keep saying that, because it's like I can't say that nobody has ever spoken his name in 20 years, because if you go on Twitter or Reddit or Instagram or TikTok, people talk about Owen Hart, but if you go anywhere else on television, no mention of him. But finally, we get to say him, we get to celebrate him, and that is awesome to me. What I did not find awesome was some people online. Somebody I know said some dumb shit. Some people I saw on Twitter and YouTube said some dumb shit. And they were trying to make this about WWE and AEW. These idiots went on here with some, WWE, they're not going to like this. WWE should sue Tony Khan for stealing Owen Hart's likeness away from them. And why is this happening? And AEW just wants to exploit Owen Hart. AEW wants to exploit Owen Hart is what I saw on YouTube. Is what I saw on Twitter from some of these people. Like, you guys must be real comfortable stepping outside in your clown shoes, in your clown makeups, and fucking sounding like dumbasses. Like, why are you people out here trying to make every little fucking thing about WWE versus AEW? Step the fuck outside of this pro wrestling bubble for 1 fucking second. It is not that deep. You do not need to make every fucking thing about some insignificant made-up war between wrestling fans. This is paying homage to a guy who fucking died in the ring on WWE's fucking watch. He died. That is the reason why he is not recognized on WWE television, because the wife of the person who died in a WWE ring did not fuck with that company anymore, and then they fucking sued her. They sued her because she had a problem with it. I don't know the details of the lawsuit. I can't detail it. I can't go too deep into it. But they tried to sue Martha Hart. They had to settle out of court. And that's why y'all didn't hear Owen Hart's name for so many years. Blame Vince McMahon. Don't blame Martha Hart. That's the widow. You're going to blame her for why you didn't hear Owen's name? You can make your whole argument about why, she should have got over it. She should have moved on. Yada, yada, yada. But guess what? It's 2021, and she has finally opened her heart to the professional wrestling community and is letting the likeness of her late husband being heard in wrestling. Take AEW out of it for one fucking second. Owen Hart is going to be celebrated in wrestling again. He is allowed. He is welcomed by his widow, by his wife, into the wrestling community again. Why does it matter that it's AEW? Why does it matter that much to you that AEW is the place where we're going to celebrate Owen Hart? Are you that fucking much of a loyalist? Are you that much of a shill to WWE that it bothers you that Owen Hart is being celebrated outside of WWE? Grow the fuck up. All of you who had that mindset, grow the fuck up or stop fucking watching wrestling and get the fuck off of social media, because that shit really pissed me the fuck off. I really can't believe some of these dumbasses I heard online. You know what? Deep breath. I had a whole rant I just went on there. Let me calm down. But yeah, I'm very excited that I get to play as Owen Hart in a video game. I don't think I've ever played as Owen Hart in a video game, especially a current modern video game. I'm going to be able to buy Owen Hart merch, and there's going to be a tournament in AEW where the winner gets to be the new, not the new Owen, you know what I mean? They get the cup. It's awesome. It's exciting. I got to go on Owen Hart bins. I have not seen a bunch of Owen Hart's work, but bro, that made me so happy. And then this shit pissed me off, but I'm going back to happiness. I'm happy. I was going to talk about Dark Side of the Ring, but I'm not going to go into a rant again, so we're skipping it. New Japan Pro Wrestling. Sounds like there's man, that rant got me all turned up, bro. Got me tight. New Japan Pro Wrestling. We're in some deep shit, it seemed like. Tetsy Naito in B Block. He was pulled from the tournament due to an injury he suffered in his match with Zack Sabre Jr. on night 2. And for this reason, everybody, basically, in B Block will be getting 1 point no matter what, because anybody who's going to face Naito is basically getting a bye. But they've announced some new matches happening in place of these Tetsy Naito matches that I'm going to announce for you guys here, because I was shocked by some of these matches, and I'm actually excited that some of them are happening. So, September 23rd happened today. Was supposed to be Tetsuya Naito versus Tangaloa. Has been replaced by Yuji Nagata versus Tangaloa. Which, like I said, already happened. Now, this date, September 26th, I was looking forward to. I was going to drop everything and watch this show for one match and one match only. And that is Tetsuya Naito versus Shingle Takagi. And sadly, that match has been scrapped because Naito was injured. The universe just does not like me. It does not like the fact that Naito and Shingle are going to meet again. I don't know why. Whenever it seems like Naito's getting a match against an LIG member, would it be Shingo or Romu? The universe says no. Naito's knees are not going to have it. I don't understand it, but I'm not going to question it either. It's been replaced by Yuji Nagata versus Shingo Takagi. G1 Climax 31, Night 7, September 30th. Naito versus Yujiro has been replaced by Bushi versus Yujiro Takahashi. A junior versus Yujiro Takahashi. Now remember, guys, no matter who wins, the person who's actually in the block is still getting a point. On October 3rd, Tetsuya Naito versus Toriano. That would have been really fun. Has been replaced by Bushi versus Toriano. October 7th, Tetsuya Naito versus Kenta. A rematch from last year's Awakening in Osaka show. Not Awakening in Osaka. What is it called? It was New Beginning in Osaka. There we go. Is now been replaced by Hiromu Takahashi versus Kenta, which excites me. That's something I've never seen before. I'm excited for that match. October 9th, Tetsuya Naito versus Tomohiro Ishii has been replaced by Hiromu Takahashi versus Tomohiro Ishii. A rematch from New Japan Cup last year. It's going to be great. I can't wait for all the Hiromu matches. October the 13th, Tetsuya Naito versus Kota Ibushi has been replaced by Satoshi Kojima versus Kota Ibushi. And October the 18th, the B Block Finals, Tetsuya Naito versus the Great Okan has been replaced by Satoshi Kojima versus the Great Okan. Now, you guys are probably wondering, well, what does this mean for the G1 Climax? Honestly, I'm not too sure, because if you ask me, I thought Tetsuya Naito's winning B block. Now, well, he can't. So, my backup pick is Shingle Takagi. I think Shingle Takagi wins B block. I don't know who I wouldn't have Kota Ibushi win again. I love Kota Ibushi to death, but this man don't need to be winning 4 fucking G1 climaxes. It's gonna grow tired at some point. So yeah, Ibushi, I love you, but he should not be winning this G1 again. I'm sorry, I'm not betting on that. Shingo Takagi's gonna win this block, and it will probably be Okada and Shingo in the finals, with Shingo winning and choosing his opponents. I'm down for it. And finally, we're going to end this out with Stardom. Stardom's 5-star Grand Prix tournament has been rocking and rolling. I've missed most of this tournament. I figured I'd wait till it's over and watch it back and catch all the matches that I missed that people like really marked. I blame the fact that this tournament's all weird and how they format and whatnot. But today is the final day. Tomorrow is the final day, I should say. And here, I'm going to do my predictions for the finals of the tournament. First match in the show, we have Momo Watanabe versus Hanan and Hina. Triple threat match, non-tournament. Momo Watanabe already finished out her tournament. She completed all her days. She's going to win this match. It doesn't matter, but she has 12 points. She's in a lead of Red Stars. So if nobody in a lead behind her at Red Stars wins, she wins the tournament. But I'll talk about that in a bit. Mai Sakurai versus Waka, because I don't know who these women are, to be honest, so I'm skipping it. Red Stars, we have Fukujin Death with 8 points versus Saki Kashima with 4 points. Did I say 4 points? Fukujin Death with 8 points versus Saki Kashima with 4 points. Saki Kashima is winning this match. Even if Fukujin Death wins, she's not winning the tournament, but it doesn't matter. Natsupoi with 9 points versus Mina Shirakawa with 4 points. This is happening at Red Stars as well. I got Natsupoi winning. She's going to 11 points. She can't win the block because Momo has 12, but she'll be up there. Red Stars, we have Himeka with 10 points versus Koguma with 9 points. Himeka wins this one. She's tied with Momo. Himeka was in the finals of last year's tournament alongside Julia. No, alongside Julia. Alongside Utami Hayashishita, which Utami won. Could she make it to the finals again? Yes, but I'm going to say no. Koguma wins this match. Koguma gets 11, and Himeka stays at 10. Red Stars, Mayu Iwatani with 9 points versus Starlight Kid with 11 points. Starlight Kid is the person with the second most amount of points in Red Stars with 11 points. Mayu Iwatani and Starlight Kid have quite the rivalry. Of course, if you guys date back a few months ago, Starlight Kid joined by force Oedo Tai. And very quickly, she basically just said fuck Stars and turned her back on him and attacked Mayu Iwatani. And this whole summer and fall has been Mayu and Starlight Kid feuding. So we're seeing the culmination of it here. It's going to be their first singles match in about a year. Does Mayu put a stop to Starlight Kid's reign? I'm going to say, bold prediction, she does not. I think Starlight Kid wins this match, goes to 13 points, and Starlight Kid wins Red Stars. Like I said, bold prediction. But if Starlight Kid does not win this match and Mayu goes to 11, that means Momo Watanabe will be the winner of Red Stars. If Momo wins, I'm not upset. I'm not upset at all. But I got Starlight Kid winning Red Stars. Moving over to Blue Stars. We have Micah with 7 points going up against Konami with 10. I'm going to go with Konami. No. Micah to win this match. If Konami wins, she's at 12. I'm going to go with Micah to win this match to go to 9 points. Konami shot the hell out of me. I didn't expect her to make it as far as she did, but good for her. Next one in here, I'm on the moon for. We have, I'm gonna skip one, guys. Why did I drink before this podcast? Leave me alone. Azumi versus Unagi Sayaka. 6 points. Azumi 7 points. Unagi Sayaka. Azumi wins. She goes 8 points. Now to the match I was about to say. We have Shiori with 11 points versus Takumi Iroha with 10 points. This is basically the winner of this match wins the tournament, more than likely. Shiori or Takumi? Takumi's been killing it. Shiori has been killing it. I chose Shiori to win the whole thing. So I think Shiori wins this match. It goes to 13. So then we go to Utami Hayashishita versus Tam Nakano. It doesn't really matter who wins because Shiori's going to win. But I'm going to say Talon draw because this is a Wonder of Stardom champion versus the World of Stardom champion. And I don't think either champion is going to lose. So Talon draw. Utami goes 11. Tam goes to 9. But then we go to Red Stars versus Blue Stars. The finals of the tournament. Starlight Kid versus Shiori. I'm sticking with my homie Shiori to win this entire tournament. Win the 2021 5-star Grand Prix and challenge Utami Hayashishita at Budokan Hall next month. And guys, that is Chillspell Podcast episode 66. What do you guys think? Comment down below. Let your boy know. I love you as always, and I will see you all next Wednesday for episode 67. Peace out, guys.